So back to Nuhu Ribadu now.
So back to
Nuhu Ribadu.
Yeah, okay.
Going by your analogy,
yes.
You said a former AFCC chairman and all that.
Yes.
No doubt that he stepped on some politician's toe.
Yes.
And those same people probably are the person that appointed him now. Don't
yes.
you also think that these politicians probably see him, that this guy is a very thorough person? He's fit enough for this job, don't you think so? I
don't agree with you. If, you know, if you're a high court judge and probably somebody fast tracks your movement to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, and that person is now, you know, along the line asking you for a favor, of course your hands are tied. And so if we should sometimes live up to who we think we are. And so most times, no means a great honor. Thank you very much for this offer. I won't accept it.
I don't understand. Now, with what you have said now, there's nothing to show that Nuhu Ribadu doesn't have the capacity.
I didn't say so. What I'm saying is that for the military, if you know the history of military, for the military hierarchy, you know, you should take order from your superior.
And
not from somebody down there.
What is right down there now? Nuhu Ribadu, because a former policeman, now a civilian, is down there.
The point we're making is this, is that the military has a way to operate. And when it has to do with orders, advices, and instructions, you have been trained to take those orders and instructions.
But a while ago, you talked about national interests. So don't you think that the service chiefs also...
The national interest, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If somebody is asking you to go and bomb country B, and the person that will ask you to do that bombing must be somebody that you can take orders from, not somebody you cannot take orders from. So this is a very sensitive office that ordinarily, some people are saying that ordinarily, Mr. President would have sought the advice of National Assembly before making some appointments, or leave it for National Assembly to ratify.
Maybe ordinarily.
So you cannot unilaterally in your parlor or in your bedroom appoint somebody to so and so office.
No, by law. Consulting the National Assembly. By law, Mr. President has the prerogative. I mean, it's political appointment. So by law,
certain offices are not as easy as you look at it from that prerogative angle.
Yeah,
National Assembly is a gathering of men. And the law, the Constitution has given that privilege to say, okay, you have been appointed by the National Assembly has powers to either say, okay, you are qualified or you are not qualified. And so we shouldn't be doing the same thing every day. I think we should move from the status quo to something better. That's why we want to move forward as a nation.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Alami, you want to say something?
Yes. You see, when you say National Security Advisor, is not National Security Commander. The person that bears commander is the President, Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces. When you talk of advice, it is not tied to compulsion. For example, I've given you an advice. Advice means something, you may consider it, you may work with it, you may not work with it.
Yeah, but Alami, when you give me advice, it presupposes that you have a superior knowledge, a superior idea of what is going on.
It is not, it doesn't follow. Yes. Advice does not follow that way. You see, you may not even be from a particular nation. You may give someone an advice. Knowledge is not property of age, nor rank, and wisdom too. That explains why Sulaiman was able to advise the father when he was passing the wrong judgment. You don't forget. When two women came disputing over a baby, and then the one that was not the owner of the baby was in possession. And the father said, oh, you came with the baby, go with your baby. The other woman, you came without the baby, you came with the dead baby, with the dead child. Then, go back with the dead child and pray that God will place for you. But what happened? Solomon came in, Solomon, and said, my father, that is the wrong judgment. He called him aside. The father said, what do you do? What advice you do, that is this. Let them bring that living child back. They are fighting for the living baby. The other one is dead. So tell them, we are going to divide that baby into two.
So,
and at the end of the day, what happened? When they say, come back. Now that baby, we are going to divide that baby into two. The woman that came with the baby, was jubilating. Yes, it's good that way. Divide the baby into two. Why the real mother of the baby?
So this is your analogy now.
Yes,
the advice he gave, is it not now more superior?
I'm saying that a son advised the father. Someone who was not a king was able to advise a king.
I know. What we're saying is that when you say advice, somebody is a national security advisor.
Yes.
What that person is going to be doing, that person, no doubt, is going to be giving superior advice.
Advice, when you talk of advice, there is nothing like superior or inferior advice. Advice is advice. When you look at the meaning of advice in the dictionary, it does not mean something that you must obey or something you must carry out. If I tell you as a lawyer, I'm advising you to do this. Is different one. I'm saying you must do this. There is a difference between you must do this or I'm advising you to do this.
Okay. Now let me pause you. Let's go. I'm sorry we are talking about new rebuttal, but we must get it straight here now. Now, a while ago, we established here that the insecurity issue we have in the country is more of internal, even if some persons say that there are external factors too. Now, for Nuhu Ribadu, a retired police officer, now the police force, whether you like it or not, take it anywhere, is the oldest security agencies all over the world. Even if you go to America, U.S. police is older than U.S. Army. That's the way it is. I mean, as far as creation is concerned. Now, that's time to be corrected anyway. That's on one side. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that for a retired police officer that is more in tandem with the internal security issues in the country, don't you think he has some more qualification compared to maybe a personnel that is only trained on, you know, fighting war and all that? Don't you think so?
Let me say this, you know, if you can recall my earlier statement, I didn't say he's unqualified. What I'm saying is that what brought me to try to bring in Tai Solarin in and I brought him in now, Nuhu in, is that I tied my argument to the fact that he was former boss of EFCC.
And he stepped on toes.
And he cannot do that job without stepping on toes. And that I don't think it would have been, it was quite okay for him to have accepted the offer. Because there are certain jobs you do in a country.
Yeah.
There are certain jobs you do in a country. You look at the nature of the country you have done that job for. You see whether somebody is trying to ridicule you or not. Certain offers is just to ridicule your person, your personality.
So this offer now...
when it's like, for instance, you know, the former EFCC chairman, you know, is under trial. The current one that just, the one that, what's his name? Magu, yes. Yeah. The one, this other one now is being questioned.
Still on that trial, yeah, kind of.
And this young man probably must have walked away. And look at the history. And he's taking a political appointment. If I were him, I won't take it. For whichever amount of whatever respect it will go. It's high time. Nigeria as a nation, we should start believing on ourselves. We should start believing on our discipline and everything. That's the only way we can move forward. This issue of sentiments or this issue of I don't know what my community will say, I don't know what my Christian brothers or Muslim brothers will say, is pushing us backwards. You know, but let me go back, let me answer your question now on the issue of IPOP and Southeast.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, you are saying that for some time now, the Eastern Nigeria is calm.
It has become kind of. So
yes.
The question I ask is that we have an APC government now, and of course, also we know that the agitation in the Southeast somehow may just be lying there. You know, the various agitations and all that. So let's look at that. Pari passu, the insecurity situation in the country.
Yes, if you look at this election that took place recently, the Southeast is not, you know, contesting the fact that they were allowed to vote. Everybody voted. And everybody exercised his franchise. And they knew the candidate they voted for. I think the election in the East was quite peaceful. And at the end of the day, the results came out. Whatever is outcome is in court. And of course, part of the Eastern states, you know, like Abia State was won by Labour Party. And that, don't forget, Abia State is a flashpoint in all these crises. And Abia State, the governor-elect was Labour Party. And I think in that state, they must have been comfortable with the outcome of that election.
Okay, so that's why there's relative peace now.
Yeah, Abia State is the flashpoint in the issue of insecurity in the southeast.
In the issue of agitations.
Agitations and insecurity in the southeast.
Yeah.
It's quite, so if you ask me, the relative peace is one of the outcome of Abia election is part of it.
Okay.
Because other states, even though they are all saying the same thing, but I think the force is more in Abia State.
Okay. All right. So,
and again, if the government in power now also, wants to benefit and also stop the agitation in the southeast, they know what to do. The young man that is being held for how many years right now can be asked to go home.
Yeah, but
if at the end of the day,
the case is in court.
Yes, if the end of the day, the case is in court.
Yeah.
The court has freed him. I say he has no case to answer. That's the Court of Appeal. The matter is now before the Supreme Court. And I believe the Supreme Court will definitely do the needful.
All right, so while we wait for that judgment now, Alamin Alao, we have the governors too. 4 major states that we talked about here, even if we're trying to stretch it to 5 now. We also said that Kogi State is also having issues, security issues recently and all that. Now, let's look at these 4 states. We have Kano, we have Kaduna, we have Zamfara, we have Benue State. Then, of course, we have Kogi, making it 5. The new governors now in these states, they are not security agents. They are not even any part of the service chiefs and all that. But this banditry, this insurgency, are domiciled in their states. Alamin.
Thank you very much. The governors, we believe, under democracy, were elected by popular vote. And so, if it is the choice of the people, the residents of the state, to prefer a particular candidate to rule them as governor, that has transpired. And we have the governors in charge. Now, they have their security votes, and their executive meetings are also attended by security agencies. In fact, the security of the state, of each state, cannot be taken away from the governors of each state. The government has the duty of securing lives and properties. And it's a very big challenge once you occupy that seat. As new governors, before now, they have been on the street, let's put it that way. And they must have been interacting with people. In fact, there are some things you may not observe while you are there on top as the governor, that while you are on the street, you observe. Because you appear to be close to people. And intelligence gathering, information gathering really matters a lot in tackling crime.
Yeah.
You will see some with disguise and go into the public to get information. That explains why you have the CIDs. Now, as new governors who are popularly elected, we expect that the people that elected them will be loyal to them. But the problem is the terrorists we are talking about, as far as they are concerned, they do not care who occupies the seat of governance. All they are after is to terrorize the citizens. And you can see that most of the time now, you have economic interests coming in. Like, pay to horse. Trying to control some local government areas. And asking the locals to pay. When they refuse to pay, there's an attack. So, you kidnapper the same thing. Economic crime. You have been kidnapped. Give me money. You go free. No money, I kill you, I sell your parts. Economic crime. Armed robbery, economic crime. Most of the crimes we have now, economic crime. Yahoo plus, economic crime. So what has pushed us to this? Poverty. So one of the duties of the governors, I will advise them to tackle the economic challenges in their various states. I believe strongly that when people are busy, they are occupied, they are working, and they are making money, and they are living a comfortable life, they may think less of crime. But whereby people who are not God-fearing have nothing to eat, the idle man is devil's workshop. The man that is not God-fearing, he doesn't have anything to eat. He thinks of killing his neighbor, of converting his animals to his. And this explains why we have increase in the rate of crime. As I said, most of them are economic crime. But apart from the economic crimes, you have those who also go to a particular locality, attack the residents, set their houses on fire without collecting anything. So we do not know how to really figure this out. But we hope and pray that the various governors will be able to live up to expectation. One of the causes of the rising banditry in this country is not actually punishing the culprits, the terrorists, the bandits.
Okay, let me pause it. Now, Barrister Mbanefo, quickly, you're going to tell me now what you also expect from the governors. If you're going to be giving a kind of a marching order, so to say, to the governors, areas that they should look at in their various states, you let us know, after which we'll quickly take a short pause. Then when we return, we're going to be setting an agenda generally for the security chiefs and even for the governor.
Yes, thank you. That's a very good question, you know. Like earlier on when I started, I told you that a medical doctor, what he saw, must run a test on a patient before treating the patient. Unfortunately, the problems that have been inherited by these new governors and by these new service chiefs was not created by them. The problem was already created by the system and by the people, either through their lifestyle or through their religion or through their way of life. For instance, if a man marries 4 wives, 5 wives because of religion, and the particular woman has 5 children each, how about 20 children per man? And the man who have gotten these 20 children do not have, you know,
the
economic power to take care of these 20 children. Sometimes 25 or 30 children from these numerous wives. And then he arms these children with little plates. And they goes to the street as a marjories and start to beg. And if probably you have 1 million men in that state, then multiply it by 4 wives, multiply the 4 wives by 5 children each, multiply the 20 children by 1 million, the 7 million men, you know what you're going to get.
Okay, let me pause you. I'll pause here now.
Yes.
We quickly take a short break now for the news update at 9:30. And when we return, we'll still have Barrister Mbanefo here and also Barrister Alamin Alao too. So let's quickly take a short pause now. You stay tuned. All right, so much of the program is still here on independent television, and we still have Barrister Alamin Alao and also Barrister Mbanefo Alakwe, talking about the rising banditry in the north and, of course, in some parts of the country. All right, so I'll return to Barrister Mbanefo now. We're trying to look at the ability of these new governors coming on board now. Of course, your colleague here had earlier, you know, initiated that somehow it has to do with economic issues that make some of this insecurity challenge come here and there. And you were trying to establish a situation whereby one single man give birth to more than 20 children that are somehow also connected to.
Yes, thank you very much for. Yeah, the point I was making is this, that I was looking at the causes of that militancy, terrorism, banditry, call it anything. But look at the causes. I was also saying that the governors are having that challenge now, and the service chiefs are equally having challenges right now. It's not their own making. But I said that it is just a byproduct of the society where we find ourselves. Where probably, due to your religion, you are allowed to marry 4 wives, and you're not looking at your economy, your income, your daily income, whether it will be able to take care of 4 wives and eventually 20 children. The point there is that at the end of the day, if you have those children and you're unable to take care of them, they return to the street as marjories. And while on the street, they can be influenced by any person. And before you know it, they become bandits, they become terrorists, they become all this. But if a father and a mother can take care of their children, send them to good schools, pay their school fees, this whole thing will be reduced. Another thing again is that the northern Nigeria, appears to have the richest person in Africa. And curiously, again,
but
the northern Nigeria, I'm coming.
If you're
also,
Aliko Dangote now.
Yes, also have. I'm coming,
South African, yeah.
The northern Nigeria, the richest man in Africa comes from the northern Nigeria.
That was before. That was then. No more. A South African has surpassed him now.
But we maintain that position for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then after, in Nigeria too, curiously, the level of poverty in this country, the percentage of poverty appears to also come from the north compared to that state in Nigeria. Again, you also look at the fact that the Nigeria as a nation, the north has taken almost 60% of the years of our nationhood in terms of leadership of this country. And if they have attained that feat, you now wonder why are we still having prevalence of insecurity in the north.
But
I'm coming, sir. My learned friend has narrowed it down
to other parts of the country too.
Unemployment, the inability of the people to meet up with their needs. It's not a joke. The statistics are there. The northern Nigeria appears to be celebrating the poorest of the poor in this country. I said the problem we are having, or curiously, we are also looking at the number of years that have equally ruled this country. And so coming back to what you're asking me about the governors, northern governors, have a lot of jobs to do in terms of human development. In terms of providing employment, they have so much job to do. Because if these gentlemen and women have good education, have good job they are doing, I believe the issue of banditry, terrorism, or whatever will reduce. We know that we have problem in the south, but the percentage of people out of school children in the south can be compared to the percentage of out of school children in the north. The good luck Jonathan administration tried to do something about it, but unfortunately the other government that came on board never did much. In fact, they never followed up. And so there is need for the governors from the northern Nigeria to really think, on how they can get the children at the out of school back to school, and how they can also engage them in some other little jobs. They have to learn skills and all that, skill acquisition and all that. Those children must be engaged on skill acquisition, so that they can help themselves. Because an idle man is devil's workshop. So the issue of banditry or terrorism will continue if the current governors refuses to do something about the children out of school, about the children without skills, about the children on the streets. The issue of drugs, of course, is equally very high in northern Nigeria. There are different types of drugs over there. Which is already on the streets. And so what we are saying is this, is that part of the problem was caused by the people's way of life. Part of the problem was caused by the politicians who used these gentlemen to rig elections, so run for elections. Part of the children is also caused because the governors are not doing enough in terms of ensuring that these children return back to the classroom, in terms of skill acquisition, in terms of educating the people, especially the women and the men, that you must be able to look at your rate of income and know the number of children you can have, so that you can take care of. You don't just keep having children and keep them on the street.
All right, so Barrister Alami, what are your suggestions now?
Now, Hanasia, suggestions to get rid of the various challenges, security challenges, economic challenges facing us as a nation. I think we need to have the fear of God, starting from our leaders. In 1960, we attained independence. Colonial masters, go back to your country. We are matured enough to handle the affairs of our nation. And how many years after independence down the line, here we are. With our maturity, economic challenges, security challenges, even if you go to school, you become a graduate, you are not sure of a job. You see parents now going to register their wards, their children, with Yahoo. I was calling my mechanic a few days back that, is my car not ready? You see, Oga Barrister, 3 of my boys don't leave my workshop. They say they won't go learn Yahoo. They save money to the mechanic again. You can see economic problems everywhere. And the place of worship are not also trying their best. Those are the ends of affairs. They have a lot of role to play. The cost of governance should be cut down. Cost of governance should be cut down drastically. And unfortunately, who will cut it down? How will it be cut down? Are you expecting the Senate president to impose a cut down or suggest it? When you are thinking of, I want to remain in this seat, I wouldn't want to be impeached, you negotiate, and you will not want to offend your fellow lawmakers by saying it is during my tenure, I'm saying that we must go home with a lesser pay. If I were to be the Senate president or Speaker of Reps, and I can influence my colleagues to cut down allowances, of course, even if I'm asked to leave the seat, I leave. Then, apart from cost of governance that should come down, the parents have a lot of role to play. Like my brother has mentioned, you should avoid giving birth to children that you cannot cater for.
Okay.
Because even on the day of judgment, right from this world, you have the problem. And on judgment day, you account for it before Almighty God. Then, for those of us who have little, we should also be generous. We should be generous.
Okay.
The issue of generosity goes a long way. You see people walking on the street, I've not eaten since morning. Whatever I can part with it. We should avoid misplaced generosity, whereby you take your alms to those who are already well to do. We should be our brother's keepers. Okay. And then very, very importantly, I was mentioning before, there should be strict penalty for offenses where you allow people to go scot-free. If murder is committed in advanced countries, 10 years after, you may be caught. Investigation goes on. Yeah. Statute of limitation is not applicable to criminal matters. In civil matters, bring your matter before a year. In Islam matter, 12 years. But as far as criminal matters are concerned, even if you are apprehended after 20 years, you can be prosecuted. Okay.
All right, so I think much has been said about the issues, talking about insecurity in the country, and we've, talked about 4 major northern states. We talked about Kaduna State, Kano State, Benue State, and of course, we also talked about Zamfara State. And in addition, we also stretched it to Kogi State now. Recent developments also says that banditry is also, coming on the heels of the new administration in Kogi State. Now, so just as we asked a while ago, whether the new governors and, of course, the new service chiefs are able to handle the insecurity issues, the banditry issues, if you like, now the terrorism issues in the country, time will tell. They've just been given their various portfolios, the new service chiefs now, and of course the new governors have just been sworn in. So let's exercise patience and see how they handle some of these issues that we have talked about. I want to say a very big thank you to Barrister Alamin Alao and also Barrister Mbanefu Alakwe for finding time to join the program today. And also for you that you went to church, you came back, and of course you sat back to watch the program this morning. I want to say a very big thank you for watching. The program returns tomorrow with Sunny Dew, Kokosu, and Co. My name is Evan Sunuhuge. Thanking you for watching. Bye-bye, and God bless you.